Good morning, everyone, and welcome to White River Buddhist Temple's Sunday morning service. Our sutra today will be Jusei Ge on page 23.
Can I ask that everyone please put your hands together in Gasho or bow your head in contemplation? As we say together, Namo Amida Butsu, I take refuge in Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Andas. Namo Andas. Namo Andas. ask that everyone please once more put your hands together in Gasho or bow your head in contemplation as we say together once more, Namo Amitabutsu, I take refuge in Amida Buddha. Namo Amitabutsu, Namo Amitabutsu, Namo Amitabutsu, Namo Nobs, Namo Nobs, Namo Nobs.
So now will everyone who is able, please rise for the reading of the three treasures on page 3. The three treasures. Fortunate is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Rare is it to encounter the teachings of the Buddha. Now we hear it. If we do not seek the truth of the Dharma in this life, in what life shall we find it? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken within us our highest aspiration. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the Dharma and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord, in a life of harmony, in a spirit of universal brotherhood, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriad of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful teaching. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namam Dabutsu. Namam Dabutsu. Namam Dabutsu. Now, please turn to page 178 in your books for the Gatha Texture of Life. Oh. Oh, we are. My apologies. 184. Okay, you may now be seated. We will have a message now from Reverend Cindy.
Can I ask that everyone please put your hands together in Gasho or bow your head in contemplation as we say together, Namo Amida Butsu, I take refuge in Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Nobs, Namo Nobs. Well, hello everyone. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, test, with yes, that's part of everything. Test. That's part of the greeting. No? I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving with friends and family. If not, had a nice Thanksgiving inside with everybody, with yourself and those who you care deeply. That includes my cat. So had a wonderful time with my cat. And I am glad that we are able to meet together inside today because, again, I'm from Southern California. I appreciate the warmth when it's cold outside. So once it gets below 60, I start only dwelling within my home and having to run out for errands and come back quickly. That's me during this time now, unfortunately. I will eventually become a
a part of the Northwest community one day and be able to bear the cold as much as you guys do. But today, we aren't observing anything special today. And so I was thinking to go over a little bit more like Ritual 101, right? So last time I went over briefly, and hopefully not too fast, how to offer incense or burn incense. And again, you don't have to memorize everything. It's a lot of steps. And the whole important thing is that you take your time and respectfully, right, I guess you could say hello to Amida Buddha is kind of what Oshoku is about, right? Saying hello to Amida Buddha, saying hello to everybody, right? Being a part of the community. And so I was thinking today, I will go over one of my most difficult subjects, which is right and lefts. Right and lefts, right? So I will start this off, right, with Buddhism began in India, right? So Buddhism is a mixture of Indian culture, Chinese culture, Japanese culture, and now American culture, right? Especially Jodo Shinshu Buddhism in America. So this specific part of ritual, I should say, comes from India. And I'm sorry to say I've never been to India. I've never really interacted too much with the Indian community. But from what I understand is that there is a difference between rights and lefts, okay? And the one thing I understand from this is that, right, there's a reason why we hold our onenju, right? This is called an onenju. Why we hold our onenju, our thinking beads, our thinking on Buddha beads, in our left hand, as opposed to our right hand. Right? And that is that in Indian culture, right, you're supposed to do clean things with your right hand, right? So when you go to India to eat, right, you're supposed to only eat with your right hand. You're supposed to only eat with your right hand because that is your clean hand. And then with the left hand, you're supposed to do dirty things with your left hand. I don't have to go into too much detail, do I? But one of the cleanest examples I could say is putting on your shoes. You put on and take off your shoes with your left hand. With your left hand. So this ties into why we hold these beads is because this left side, right, our unclean side, is a version of ourselves, right? The left side is a version of ourselves, right? While the right side is a version of enlightenment, right, of purity. Thus, we always need reminders, right, of the enlightened side. And thus we have these beads on our left hand to remind us of the Buddhas, right? This is why it's called thinking beads, right? It's a reason why we have it on our left hand, to remind us constantly about thinking on the Buddha, right? And so, this goes into ritual not only because we usually wear oil nenju on our left hand, but because there are certain rituals where you go forward with your left and then go back with your right. I guess you could say in a way. So, for example, usually, if you ever go to Japan too, this is important, when you enter the grounds, technically, like in America, we drive in, so it's kind of hard to bow or anything in your car. Please don't do that. I do not want you guys to get into an accident. But in Japan, right, when you enter the grounds, you're supposed to bow towards the center where the object of worship tends to be, right? Bow, and then you enter with your left. And that's because right now you're impure. You're impure, right? And so one of the first things you do, especially when you're in Japan, is you cleanse yourself, right? And that's either with water or with burning incense, right? And then you go to the center of the altar, right? Right. So when you enter, you could practice this if you would like to. When you enter this space, this main hall, you bow at the door, and then you enter with your left foot. The same goes for when you are exiting, right? Before you exit the door, you bow once more. Sorry, I should bow towards Amida Buddha. And then you exit with the right. And that's because you've been, in a way, purified, right? So you're right. You exit with your right. Same thing when you go to Japan. Once you finish going to the temple, right? Purifying yourself, seeing the main object of worship, you step out of the grounds, right? You bow towards the center image, and then you exit with your right. You could also practice this when and there's a reason why I didn't say this during my burning of incense 101, because I didn't want to make this too confusing for people. But when you do the same thing when you do your incense burning, is that at the beginning, right, you're supposed to do a small bow, right, either with hands in front or hands to the side. And you do, after you bow, you're supposed to step forward with your left. And then you do your incense burning. And then when you step back before your final bow, right, you step back with the right. And then you bow to finish the burning of incense ritual. But I do have to say this. I get my rights and lefts mixed up all the time. So I am not going to yell at people if I see you doing it wrong, okay? So even though there's a meaning behind the rights and lefts for these rituals, right, the most important thing is that you are mindful of the Buddha, right? You are mindful of the Buddha. Because Amida Buddha is not going to yell at you for messing up your rights and lefts or messing up how to offer incense, right? Because Amida Buddha is the Buddha of immeasurable light and life, the Buddha of infinite wisdom and compassion. And thus, right, Amida Buddha won't yell at you for this stuff. Because a mind like me that gets rights and lefts mixed up all the time, right, needs the compassion to realize the reason why we do these rituals, right? And that is to think upon Amida Buddha and think upon how the infinite wisdom and compassion touches us so that we are able to do these rituals in a way that if we mess up, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. And thus, even though you might get your rights and lefts mixed up like I do, please try your best to think about these things while doing these rituals. Because, right, Nammo Amida Butsu is always here. Amida Buddha is always here. And will catch you whenever, not in the negative way, catch you whenever you mess up. Right? So, please, when you come up to offer incense today, or when you're leaving, please remember, you go forward with your left, you step back with your right, and please be careful. Try not to do two things at once, because I do that too. right? One movement at a time so that you don't fall, okay? One movement at a time so you don't fall, okay? So if we could please put our hands together in Gasho about hidden contemplation as we think about these rights and lefts and think upon the infinite wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Reverend Cindy, for your Dharma talk. I mix my lefts and rights all the time, too. So today, let's see, we'll next have the Gatha Ondok-san 2 on page 153. Please rise if you're able for Ondok-san. Now, please turn to page 8 and read along with me the Daily Creed of Jodo Shinshu. Realizing enlightenment is assured and reciting the Nembutsu, I shall live my life cheerfully and positively. Understanding the oneness of life and cultivating self-reflection, I shall diligently attend to my life's tasks in gratitude. Recognizing the Dharma path, I shall help spread the teachings of the Buddha. Appreciating the Buddha Dharma, I shall respect and help others, working for the good of society. Namam Dabutsu. Namam Dabutsu. Namam Dabutsu. Okay. Thank you. May now be seated. Do we have any first-time guests today? No. Okay. All right. So are there announcements? Is that it for announcements? Oh, okay.
Sorry, I want to make a quick announcement. In your newsletters, if you didn't get your newsletter, in the newsletter, I realized this week we were kind of scrambling to get a flyer into the newsletter, and it is the joint Honko service announcement for January 14th and 15th? No, 13th and 14th, sorry. 13th and 14th, 2024. And so we realized this morning, like 5 minutes before service, that the announcement has says 2023 Joint Hongo Service, and it's 2024. So just keep mindful of that. That there is a correction in the newsletter, and we will try to get out the new flyers as soon as we can. Okay, so I just wanted to tell you guys, it's not 2023, it's 2024 Joint Hongo Service. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is that it for our announcements then? Okay, so we have our closing remarks. If you remember them, please say them along with me. My life is not only my life, but the life of others, sacrifices, kindness, thoughtfulness, and patience. I am grateful. Namam Dabutsu. Namam Dabutsu. Namam Dabutsu. Okay. Okay, thank you for coming today. Please come up to Oshoko, offer incense if you have not already done so. Have a safe drive home.